Hi readers, it's me again, Miss A. Today we are going to focus on drawing and labeling the setting of a fiction story. It's kind of a fun part about writing about reading. Here's our target for today. Read along with me, follow with your eyes. I can draw and label the setting of a fiction story. You all are great drawers. Who can remind me what it means to label something? Oh, that's right. Just write down what a part or a piece of a picture or a drawing is. So if you drew a picture of a bike and you pointed to the wheel, you would say, this is the wheel. If you drew a picture of Miss A and pointed to my glasses, Miss A's glasses. Excellent. That's what a label is. So we're going to work on labeling and drawing the setting of a fiction story. The setting is an important part of the plot. We learned that plot is what makes up each important part of a fiction text. So today we're going to zoom in on the setting of a text. The setting we often learn right away when we start reading a fiction text is the beginning. In the beginning of the text, we are often introduced to the character and the setting. Let's listen in to learn more about what a setting is. Be ready to pause after the video, talk to someone about what you learned, send your teacher a message, or anything creative you can think of in your own creative new version of your writer's notebook.
Story Elements for Kids. What is a setting? By Teaching Without Frills. Story elements are the different parts of a fiction story. The setting is an important story element. Can you figure out the definition of setting from the following examples? The setting might be a hot, sunny day at the beach during the summertime. Or it could be a cold, rainy night at a haunted house in October. So what do you think the definition of setting is? Pause here to think, or keep watching to find out. Setting is the time and place of a story. It often answers the questions when and where. The time of a story may be in the past or in the future, in the daytime or at night, in the summer or winter. A story may take place in a school, in a jungle, in a big city, in the desert, or in a variety of other places. We can also use adjectives or describing words to tell about the setting, like if it's sunny, cold, bright, busy, or spooky. You can determine the setting of a story by looking at the illustrations and finding information in the text. Let's try it. I was walking in the park on a warm day. How would you describe this setting? The text tells you I'm in a park, it's warm, and it's daytime. The illustration shows flowers and birds and the sun. I think it might be spring. So we could describe the setting as a warm spring day in the park. So remember, setting is the time and place a story happens. What settings have you seen in stories before? If you liked this video, make sure you click the thumbs up below. To learn more, you can watch my Story Elements for Kids playlist, or check out the Teaching Without Frills channel for more learning videos.
All right, readers. So what is setting? Turn and tell someone in your house. Tell your dog, tell your cat, tell me. I'm listening. That's right. Setting is when and where. Oh dear. Setting is when and where a fiction story takes place. We learn about it in the beginning of the text. So here's the fun part. You get to label and draw. First draw, then label the setting of a story you've recently read. So here's the one that I did. We recently read Coyote Steals the Blanket, a Ute Tale by Janet Stevens. And I love the setting of this text because the pictures, the colors are beautiful. It's a unique place from where I live. I'm in Colorado, and we're just coming out of winter into spring, so everything's still pretty brown. But this setting is in a desert and looks very different from where I live. So I chose to draw and label the setting of this story. This is turning into my new reading journal because this is what I have available to me now. So be creative and use what you have and what works for you also, readers. So I wrote the setting of Coyote Steals a Blanket by Janet Stevens. I drew a cactus because to me that really represents a desert. I drew all the big boulders that are in the story and are an important part of what happens in the story. A hot sun. And then I wrote, so this told me where. All of these clues put together tell me that this is a desert. It tells me where the story is taking place. Now, the other important part of a setting is when. And I could tell because there was a blue sky and a hot sun out that when was in the middle of the day. So here's some other examples if you look on your screen as well. This book that another student read, their setting was in Egypt, a country, under a shady palm tree. There were pyramids in the setting. It was a hot sun. And when it was taking place was daytime a long, long time ago. This student read a book that took place under a shady palm tree on the beach on a cloudy day, and when was daytime in the summer. So remember, setting is where, but also when a story takes place. That when is an important part that readers sometimes forget. Don't leave that part out. So now you get to try this yourself, readers. Find a favorite book that you've read this week, maybe one that you've listened to your teacher read this week, one that you've read yourself at home. I want you to draw and label the setting. Now, this is a great chance because it's not a ton of writing to really take your time, do your best, be student-led, and be super proud of the work that you do. Now, as a challenge, if you want to go above and beyond because you are just so into what you've done, you can create your own setting. So if you draw your own setting, go ahead and draw when and where it's happening and taking place. Then start to add in some characters and those other elements of a plot that we've learned. Take your diagram that you've drawn, your own diagram that you made up, and turn it into a fiction story. Now, writers, if you want to pause and use this visual right here to remind you of all the important steps, and use this visual right here to help you plan it out, I would start with a picture diagram that labels your setting, add in your characters, and then map out using a flow map like we've done before all the important parts of your plot. Then after you write it, go ahead and start drafting. I can't wait to see what those of you who take on this challenge come up with. I know, readers and writers, you are going to write an amazing fiction story that shows all the important parts of a fiction text. Now remember, your target for today is to draw and label the setting of a fiction text. So start with that first. Do your work on a text that you've recently read that you're familiar with. Add all those labels, and then when you're ready, go above and beyond. Take on that challenge, readers and writers. Can you do your very own setting, your very own characters, with your very own conflict and resolution? I think you can do it because you are super readers. Have a great day. See you soon.